the entrance to the cave loomed before them was formed like a mouth of a slumbering beast, an eerie place to enter. Yet they continued to move forward. A jagged rocks framed the opening, and cool air drifted out from the darkness within. Sedge stood at the front of the group, his hand resting on the hilt of his katana. Behind him, the 5 Maharlikan warriors remained on alert, their eyes scanning the surrounding area for signs of danger. "Stay close," Sedge instructed. "We do not know what awaits us inside." The Maharlikan warriors nodded and followed him into the cave. As they ventured deeper, the light from the outside world gradually faded. One of the warriors lit a torch, casting flickering shadows across the damp stone walls. Strange markings covered portions of the cavern, etched into the rock by unknown hands. Some resembled animals, while others appeared to depict warriors wielding unfamiliar weapons. "Could these be an ancient carvings?" one of the escorts asked. "Perhaps," Sedge replied, examining them carefully. "But they do not resemble any script or symbols used in the Kingdom of Pearl." The deeper they traveled, the more unusual the cave became. The walls widened into a vast chamber where crystal formations protruded from the ground and ceiling. The torchlight reflected off their surfaces, filling the room with shimmering blue and silver hues. For a moment, even the hardened warriors were left speechless by the sight. Then a faint sound echoed through the chamber. Steps. 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 Every member of the group froze. The noise seemed to come from somewhere beyond the crystals. "Did you hear that?" whispered one of the warriors. Sedge nodded. The tapping continued, slow and deliberate, as though something was moving through the darkness ahead. Drawing his katana, Sedge advanced cautiously. His escort team unsheathed their weapons and followed. The sound grew louder until they reached the far end of the chamber, where they discovered a narrow passage leading even deeper underground. Suddenly, a gust of wind rushed through the tunnel. The torches flickered violently. For a brief moment, Sedge thought he saw a silhouette standing at the end of the passage, a tall figure draped in tattered robes. Then it vanished. The warriors exchanged uneasy glances. "Was someone over there?" one of them asked. "I don't know," Sedge answered honestly. Despite the unease settling in his chest, his curiosity only grew stronger. Whoever, or whatever, had occupied this cave had left behind more than simple carvings and crystals. There was a mystery hidden beneath the island, one that seemed to be calling them deeper into the darkness. Sedge tightened his grip on his katana and took another step forward. "Let's continue," he said. The narrow tunnel stretched before them, disappearing into the shadows. With weapons drawn and hearts filled with both caution and anticipation, the young Datu and his warriors descended further into the unknown, unaware that their discovery would soon change the course of their journey, and perhaps the fate of the Kingdom of Pearl itself. "Datu! Look!" "An underground river," one of the Maharlikan warriors exclaimed. Sedge turned and saw a breathtaking sight. A river flowed through the depths of the cave, its waters so clear that the smooth stones beneath it were visible. The surface shimmered like crystal under the glow of the luminous minerals embedded in the cavern walls. "It is beautiful," Sedge said quietly. The group paused for a moment to admire the underground wonder before continuing their exploration. Following the river's course, they ventured deeper into the cavern. The tunnel gradually widened until it opened into a vast underground chamber. The sight before them left everyone speechless. Ancient structures stood scattered throughout the enormous cavern. Stone pillars rose from the ground, while weathered buildings and ruined archways hinted at a civilization long forgotten. Strange symbols were engraved into the walls, and fragments of collapsed towers lay buried beneath centuries of dust. "These are man-made," one of the warriors whispered. Sedge nodded. "Wait here," he ordered. "I will investigate inside." The warriors remained on guard while Sedge approached the nearest structure. It resembled a small temple or hall constructed from an unfamiliar white stone. Despite its age, much of it remained intact. He carefully pushed open the ancient door. The moment he stepped inside, a soft blue light filled the room. Sedge instinctively reached for the hilt of his katana. Before him appeared the ethereal silhouette of an elderly man dressed in flowing white robes. His figure was translucent, glowing faintly like moonlight reflected upon water. The old man stared at Sedge in silence. Then he sighed. After so many years, he murmured. Finally, a living being has found this place. His gaze wandered toward the ceiling as though searching through memories long forgotten. It has been so long that I can scarcely remember, he continued. Perhaps 1,300 years have passed since I arrived here. The old man's expression became distant. I often wondered whether any of my descendants survived, whether any trace of my bloodline remained. Sedge remained respectful despite his surprise. Old man, I am called Sedge, he said, bowing slightly. The old man nodded in acknowledgement. After a moment, Sedge hesitated before asking, Are you perhaps a ghost? You seem somewhat transparent. The old man chuckled. Ho ho, a ghost? His laughter echoed gently through the chamber. You are correct, young man. I am already dead. What you see before you is merely a remnant of my soul, a projection left behind by my spell. The old man's eyes carried the weight of countless years. There was a time when I was known as the master of a great arcane tower. It was a magnificent place where knowledge, magic, and discovery flourished. His expression darkened. Yet human greed knows no bounds. The temperature within the room seemed to drop. 3 of my closest friends betrayed me. Men whom I trusted as brothers. They coveted my knowledge, my treasures. His translucent hands clenched. Their ambush nearly killed me. Gravely wounded, I was forced to activate an experimental magic artifact and flee. The old man slowly looked around the ancient chamber. The magic artifact carried me across dimensions and I arrived into this strange world. Sedge's eyes widened. Another world? Young man, the universe is vast and full of wonders. He slightly smiled and then nodded. When I arrived, I discovered that the magical energies of this realm were vastly different from those of my homeland. I spent decades studying them while constructing this sanctuary beneath the earth. His gaze settled upon Sedge. But my injuries were too severe. Eventually, death claimed my physical body. Before I passed, I left behind this soul projection, hoping that one day someone would find this place. The room fell silent. For a long moment, neither spoke. Then the old man's eyes suddenly narrowed. A look of surprise crossed his ancient face. How peculiar. What is it? Sedge asked. The old man stepped closer. Though transparent, his presence felt strangely overwhelming. Your soul, he said quietly. There is something unusual about it. Sedge frowned. What do you mean? The old man studied him carefully. I cannot see clearly after all these centuries, but your soul carries traces of a destiny far greater than that of an ordinary mortal. The old man smiled faintly. Perhaps fate did not send you here by accident, young Sedge.